everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. This is my review of the Mandalorian Chapter 14, The Tragedy, and boy, what an episode this was. Now, this video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, you may want to do that first and then come back. Now, let's just go ahead and get into this. So we open with Mando and Grogu on the Razor Crest, and Mando gets Grogu to use the Force to take that little metal ball from his hand, which he does successfully. Then Mando and Grogu arrive on Tython, and they find that seeing stone on top of a mountain. Mando puts Grogu on the stone so he can choose his path, but at first nothing happens. Then Boba Fett arrives in Slave One, and Mando decides that it's time to get out of there, but Grogu then starts communing with the Force, which creates a force field around him, preventing Mando from leaving with him. Then Mando is confronted by Boba Fett, who demands the return of his armor. But at first Mando refuses. But Mando isn't alone. He's also accompanied by Fennec Shand, who isn't dead after all. So apparently it was Boba Fett who found her at the end of that episode on Tatooine last season. Now, after a short confrontation, Mando agrees to trade the armor in exchange for Grogu's safety. Then two shuttles arrive carrying stormtroopers who attempt to capture Grogu. Fett, Shand, and Mando all join forces to stop the stormtroopers from taking the child away. Then Boba Fett totally wrecks the stormtroopers using a gaffy stick, but then he sees the Razor Crest and he heads for it to get his armor. Now, Mando tries to get Grogu again, but still can't get through the force field, and then returns to help Fennec hold them off. Then Boba arrives in his armor, and he's even more badass with the armor on and pretty much defeats the stormtroopers single-handedly. Finally, after 40 years, Boba Fett is the character we always imagined him to be. Longer than that, really, because they were advertising Boba Fett's action figure at least a year before Empire came out. I remember that the packages that the action figures came in had these proof of purchase seals on them, and if you bought, I think it was like 4 or 5 figures, you could cut the seals off and mail them to Kenner, the manufacturer, and you'd get a free Boba Fett figure. And this was real early on. This was when the figure still had the rocket launcher on his back that was actually functional, and it was spring-loaded to fire a little missile, but then some kid shot it into his throat and choked on it or something like that, and so they made new ones that had non-functional launchers that couldn't actually fire anything. Then Moff Gideon destroys the Razor Crest from orbit, and he sends Dark Troopers to capture Grogu and take him away. Now, by then, Grogu has finished communing with the Force, and the poor little guy, he's exhausted, he's unable to resist, and they take him away. So Boba flies after them in Slave One, but Mando warns him not to attack as it might hurt Grogu, so Boba backs off and watches as Gideon's ship jumps into hyperspace in the planet's atmosphere, which I thought you really weren't supposed to do that sort of thing, but okay, whatever. Then Boba Fett and Shand agree to team up with Mando to rescue Grogu. Then Mando goes to Navarra to get Cara Dune's help breaking Mayfield, that former Imperial stormtrooper from last season, out of prison in order to rescue Grogu. So next episode we'll probably have Cara helping Mando bring Mayfield from prison. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and bring back all the characters that Mando has worked with to pull off Grogu's rescue. I mean, you might as well bring back Mayfield, bring back Cara Dune, bring back Cobb Vanth, bring back Bo-Katan. You know what? Even bring back the Frog Lady. You know, I mean, you don't know. They might need her for something. Maybe Grogu will be on a water world and they need to sneak her into the prison by swimming into its water system thing. I don't know. Finally, we see some stormtroopers being tossed around by Grogu's force powers, but it exhausts the poor little guy until he can't even fight back anymore. Then Moff Gideon shows Grogu the Darksaber, and then that frickin' monster has a stormtrooper stun poor little Grogu, and they put the tiny little baby shackles on him. And it ends there. So, another pretty good episode. Thumbs up on this one. I'd been waiting. waiting for a while, really, for this show to start getting good. And I started to wonder if it would ever happen, but it did finally get there. It's great to finally see Boba Fett being awesome. And it's great seeing this show finally feel like it's not being padded out to fill a season, to feel like there are some real stakes here that the hero has to fight for. If they could just get better at pacing the show, it would take away a lot of my complaints. Now, this episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez, and he did a great job. The action in this was tremendous, and he made Boba Fett an absolute beast. So, that's all for now. Let me know what you think of this episode in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button before you leave. Also, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.